Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Europa Universalis. This is episode, I believe, three or no, sorry, episode four of the Lithuanian Safe. But it is episode one since the Rossback patch kind of came live and has now been released onto the game, so it is no longer a beta. It is April 1352 here in the game. We do play at about 3 times speed. I am Stuart. In case anybody is unfamiliar with the channel, I am trying to grow it. I know I'm not great at this. I am a history teacher and I love playing historical strategy games. I do also like playing at a little bit of a slower pace than most people probably do, simply because I think it better showcases, I guess, the passage of time. And I am a big fan of the beta. Well, sorry, now Rossback, it's no longer a beta. So we do have location, income. You can see again, really just around Vilnius, which is not that uncommon here, relatively early on in the game. We did build a couple of roads. There they are. Here, up here in Rasini and Hirani, and I do apologize that I'm probably butchering those names. You can see there is a very nice road going up here through kind of Polotsk, which we are still working on integrating or annexing, and then obviously here up into the Baltic states, right? Latvia, Livonia, and the Livonian Order. So I think in time I'll try to build a main road, kind of going to the north, maybe through here, right, to connect it to the highway that we already have. We do have the Vilnius market, we're making 2.09 ducats monthly from that. We're up to 1.51, which sounds weird to say that I'm up to, but we are just on the just on the back side of the Black Death. So I kind of got tongue-tied a little bit there. So we did lose almost 400,000 people, 376,000. 88.79 million people. That is the Great Yuan Dynasty, 21.3. Castile lost 2 billion. Sheridan lost 91,000. Teutonic Order lost 192,000. So they were hit a lot less than we were. Castile 2 billion. France 2.3. Delhi 7.3. So that is just a mind-blowing amount of people. The nobility is building fairly regularly. We were forced to convert to Catholicism in episode one, of course. And then our father, so we have a regency. The ex-Grand Duke Leobertus, who was the first Grand Duke when we were forced into Catholicism, died from the plague. So we have been dealing with a regency, which will hopefully, and I believe in this episode, presumably Genobitis II takes the throne, because he is now 14 years old. His birthday is in March, so he should be coming of age here in this episode. We are both trying to convert people to the Catholic faith, as well as assimilate people into our culture. So we are assimilating here in Countess, 88.24%. So we are almost 9 out of 10 people are Alsatian. Apologies for that. And then down here in Grodno, we are at 45.62%, 9,724 people who are of the Catholic faith. So you can see the removed zealots are decreasing again. It's the second time they've come up. They're at 7.7% in terms of the rebels, negative 0.9% because, again, they're losing their hold little bit by little bit on the country. It's not a very fast process. I wish it was a little bit faster, but at the same time, it's a very realistic process. And it is influenced by the control and the proximity to the capital that you have. So our income, again, is inching towards 2 ducats a month. We have 14 prestige, 96 legitimacy, again, 586,000 pops. We used to have, the high water mark was 1.038 billion. So again, you can see just the massive loss of life we had from the Black Death or the bubonic plague, whichever you would like to call it, which is, of course, is similar to just about everybody. The annexation of Polotsk can see Smoldensk has definitely grown. You know, they are one of our rivals, but the annexation here is we're at 125 out of 226. Grows 1.08 a month, and it's expected to be done on 1360. So, again, our young son should be able to do that. Pinsk is building some beeswax gathering or some amber. That is a really cool. I like that. I believe they are another one of our vassals. They are. We have 3.34 diplomats, so we're actually they're at they only have a 53 opinion of us. Let us send some diplomats and try to start improving that opinion. The majority of our vassals now have, great opinion of us. Which, of course, is beneficial. You can see, we'll zoom out here a little bit. Oxation, you can see it, we are there kind of in the center to the northwest part of the country. We have researched the Baltic Crusades, which, of course, we are directly influenced by. In this country, we have a long tradition of sending our finest knights and aristocrats to spread the true faith to heathens in the Baltic and the Mediterranean regions. We will fulfill our Christian mission by bringing the faith to the unenlightened, while also acquiring experienced commanders for our armies, plus 0.05 for army tradition, which is kind of ironic because, of course, we were the heathens that they were talking about. We could call our Sabus into session. That would also, decrease the amount of money we'd be making, monthly, though. So I'm not sure, if we really want to do that. The only ally we have is Poland, and, we have diplomatic, well, we no longer have diplomatic options available. You used to say we had diplomatic options available. However, the only diplomatic option we had was really to try to improve opinion or profess trust. Nobody wanted an alliance with us or even to join a defensive league. So again, Oxation there, that we have the Palatskian, which is kind of in the center to the southern part of Lithuania. We have Samogoshiad really on the northwestern fringe. And then we have Polesian and Mazovian. Those two colors are very similar, but you can see, they are also part of our culture group. We have 1.7 out of 1.5 accepted cultures. We have one work of art, which was a hat. That does give us negative 30% assimilation rate because we are spiritualist. Religiously, we are now up to 17.7% Catholic or religious unity, as we have 17.71% people in our nation who are now Catholic. 48.43% of those people are removed, and 33.86% are Orthodox. Initially, before we were forced to convert in order to get out of the war against the Teutonic Order, I had planned on potentially converting to Orthodoxy. Right, because all of the Russian states essentially are Orthodox. I thought, well, this might give us a chance to remain independent and different. And I guess technically we could try to reconvert, to remove in or Orthodoxy as well. But I just thought, what, we're Catholic now, might as well lean into it, right? Of course, with all of the deaths, we have just massive needs of workers everywhere. Although Vilnius itself is back up to 10,053 people, Minsk is at 8,900. Negative 453 burgers there. Vilnius, negative 120 burgers, but everybody else is presently employed. Militarily, again, we did take a beating, although we are up to 3,000 levies. Is this the Lida is losing population? A lot of places have been depopulated fairly rapidly in the last few years. Grodno is now, I think I'll wait until November, and then we will move Jonas off to try to religiously convert another province. Of course, and I do apologize, all of a sudden I've kind of got a tickle in my throat. In order to convert a province or assimilate them, it helps to have control. So the further we go away from the capital, especially since we don't have a great road network right now, the less control we're going to have. And so therefore, it might be harder for us to assimilate population. If we did want to have our parliament, 44% would say increase the ties of our neighbors. We would lose 7 stability if it fails. We only have 9 stability right now, but we would gain a +2 in diplomatic relations. That by far is what people want. The nobility is backing the issue. I'm not sure. Christiana Pietas, the Cardinals of the Curia have come to the conclusion of now enacting Christiana Pietas, which is the tolerance of heathen beliefs +2 for 10 years. So we are up to 2 ducats now monthly. So again, if we went into religion, you can see like we don't have any real green areas that are Catholic, but we do have most of the country is starting to kind of lean Catholic, or at least a lot of the country. Not, I guess I can't say most, but there would be 90,000 pops supporting the Removed Rebellion, 186,000 in the Orthodox. That is slowly starting to lose a little bit of steam as well. Gedadis is now going to he's going to go here to the Hoisk, which currently is 99.64% Palatskin. And who is this? Jonas, right? Is going to convert people to Catholicism. And he's going to go to Suwalki, which is at 13.21%. All right, we do have 4 major cities currently in our country. We have Vilnius, the capital, Kaunas, Trakai. Oh, wait, I guess that would be Vilnius, Trakai, Kaunas, Gardinus. We have 5, sorry, and then Minsk. All right, Trakai's got 4,600 people. Kaunas, 5,700. Gardinus has 6,500. And then, of course, Minsk has almost 8,000. Vilnius, with a little over 10,000, is by far the largest city we have. You can see Prussian Catholic nobles in Vilnius are not happy. Why are you unhappy? Lacking sugar, negative 1.72%. I mean, okay. I feel like that's a bit extreme. Monthly rebel growth plus 0.35% migration negative 60%. Literacy again is pretty terrible. So laborers, again, burghers, removers view of Catholic again. Well, Lithuanian tolerance of removing, and again lacking sugar. Laborers similarly not happy. Right. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, do the people come of age at 15 in Europa Universalis 5? I was having a hard time remembering. You know, like in CK3, for example, that your characters come of age at 16. I think it's the same here, which means we have one more year, so it'll be 1353, or 1354, sorry, as we're now at 1353. Now, the good news is the Black Death should be fully gone by then. Obviously, the impacts will not be, right? But in terms of expansion, right? Because I know, wars are more exciting than just watching me talk. Oh my goodness, is that Bulgaria doing all this occupying? No, the Karasids, okay. What I was going to say is a lot of what I want to do first is just annex my vassals and then eventually try to, consolidate, get some religious unity, continue to, some cultural unity would also be good. As we have and I am probably going to, they're building a toll castle in Pulaski, which is up here, I guess? No? Up there it is. That was a little bit too far south. Again, that being the nobility is who is building that. But again, consolidating the vassals and then maybe pushing the Teutonic Order back a little bit, maybe trying to take some of Kiev, maybe going a little bit south into Halych and Volhynia. I don't want to piss off the Poles too much because they are my one ally that I have. In Kona Domini, all faithful should condemn and report any acts of piracy as a betrayal of the Lord's grace. Vote ends on the 15th of July, 1353. Currently, the winning vote is projected to be yes, with a total of 9 votes. Can see we are slowly getting a little bit of Catholicism into Suwalki. It's up to 19.35%. We're not really doing a whole lot here in Lahoysk in terms of converting people, or sorry, not converting, assimilating people into our culture. But again, like part of that's the control thing and the proximity. And some of it is just going to take a long time, as it should. So indeed, it must be 16 years old because we are past his birthday here in March. Our young crown prince and heir, well, I guess he's not a crown prince, it's just a duchy, but Gediminas II is now 15, 35, 51, and 27. It's really not a very impressive, stat line, but, we are going to end the Regency, which hopefully will help with our prestige. We are incredibly legitimate now, right? We're at 96, although we're not going up at all. I don't know, did we gain a single person? Increase of the Kabbas. Across our country, the increase of the formation of Kabbas led between the Milstikai has been noted. Of course, the Milstikai complain that the Kabbas are an outdated method, one less productive than their conversion into enclosures. The Milstikai vehemently oppose this idea, citing age-old rights and the importance of the Kabbas to their livelihood. The decision now falls upon the state. Should we uphold tradition and allow the Kabbas to flourish, or do we seek a path forward into the modernization of our agricultural framework? If we uphold the commons, we will gain some stability, move by 2 towards a traditional economy, which is what we're doing. And Ashmani will get bountiful harvest for 24 years. If we favor the enclosures, we'll lose 7 stability. The peasants lose 50% estate satisfaction. We will gain an agricultural boom for 15 years and move towards a capital economy. We will take this stability and we will also move towards a traditional economy. Because the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, later on the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, was a very large country. I try to say large and vast at the same time there. It's a very large country, but it wasn't super populated. So we are trying to stick a little bit, so to speak, towards the historical with that, where I don't think we're going to have a lot of cities. Like, I do want to build a city up here on the coast, maybe Memel even. Obviously, if we did take Kiev down here, that would obviously be a big city. Polotsk has a city. So, I mean, there's going to be cities, don't get me wrong. But this was not a highly urbanized, nation or realm. So, a lot of wide open spaces. So that's why, sticking with the traditional economy, being largely agrarian, being land-based, kind of makes sense to me. Now, I would love to build something. Vilnius is really the only place I would be able to build anything at the moment. But now that we are, I am trying to hold off on having the parliament until our young prince, I keep calling him a prince, I know he's not really a prince, our heir, Gediminas II, comes of age. Okay, we no longer have enough burghers in town, so even if I wanted to hire people, we can't. We do have enough soldiers, we have enough laborers, we have just enough peasants. We are up almost to 3 ducats a month. And again, like, we're not, as Lithuania here, we never have hit this stage where we were, like, rolling in money, right? We were not ever at, like, 20, 30, or hundreds of ducats a month. We were, I think, moving little bit by little bit towards 10 ducats a month, which, I mean, frankly, to me is just, like, amazing. But I also know, in the scheme of the game, it's probably not really, but again, they're removing zealots. They're now gaining strength. Interesting. I would have thought they would have continued to lose strength because, yeah, I don't think we're getting anybody here. I don't think we have enough control. Okay, so then that is something that is very true, though. You have to have enough control to assimilate people or convert people, and I like that. I think that's realistic. Now, the one good thing about increasing the control here is it should give me a little bit more money and a little bit more manpower. In theory. It's not 100%, but in theory, that, that's how that works. I do not think, since we're moving at 3 times speed, I don't think we'll be able to get to the Polotsk annexation. Once we annex them... Okay, well, we know we don't have the relations with Pinsk to annex them. Slutsk is at 200... Vitebsk is at 200. Novogrudok is at 197. That would obviously bring a lot of some more central regions directly under the control of Lithuania. Sturdy grains, livestock, legumes, beeswax, sturdy grains, fur, lumber, wool, legumes, livestock, and wild game. So up here in Vitex, we would have fish, lumber, livestock, wild game. They're building a sergeantry. Mikulina, they're also now building a fiber crops farm, or expanding it. Livestock, fiber crops, lumber. They also have a town. Alright, so there's a couple of towns up here. Hard Oak has fur, livestock, wild game, fruit, fiber crops, lumber, sturdy grains. Oh wait, my bad. That's a different. That is different. This is Toro Pets. So there's some mining here in Paskov. So, what would make sense? Alright, so if we did annex them, annex here, annex there, annex here. Well, actually, Drutsk would make the most sense next, but we'll zoom out here for a minute while we kind of wait. And obviously, the Ottomans are starting to occupy a lot. Anconia Domine, maritime presence plus 25%. You can see all the Byzantine Empire has been occupied. They have occupied a little bit of the... Oh wait, the Ottomans have also occupied there. Yeah, the Ottomans are just occupying a lot, and then the Kharistids are occupying the Byzantine Empire. Over here in Europe, we have Venice is doing some occupation. Venice is occupying some there. France and England seem mostly normal. You have Scotland, Castile, Aragon. So a lot of the map outside of the Golden Horde, which has taken out a lot of losses and is now being occupied by Novosil. It's kind of funny that that tiny place is able to occupy them. But anyways, way up here, this Glish Mursky is occupied completely by Unza, which is right here. Okay, we have hit 3 ducats a month. So far there's not been a lot of change to the map. Of course, the big thing for me in this episode is just wanting to get our young heir, whatever you want to call him, you know, into power in the Regency, see what we have for potential marriage options. Obviously, being just 16, you would say, well, you don't really need to marry him off right away. But at the same time, you know, you never know, right? He could fall, the game could have him fall down the stairs or something, and then, you know, would the game end because we no longer have the dynasty? Would we get into a personal union? Would there be wars about the succession? What's interesting to me is that we're only making 2.2 out of the 9.58 wealth. Now, again, we're not really taxing a lot of our, we can't tax our nobles yet, or the priesthood. 46.93% satisfaction. You know, so that obviously is limiting our treasury. priesthood is now unhappy. They're losing 0.15 happiness each month. So the estates right now. Oh, the crown's only at 23%. Why are we traditional distribution negative 10%? Tax efficiency. Well, we do have autocracy and 43% for the nobles, 50% for the priests, 9% for the burghers, 7% for the peasants. That's interesting. I don't. Now, well, then again, they are the ones building, right? They are the ones building everything, and they are expanding down here in Duchy. And like, so you can build this architry, right, which helps with control. The roads help with proximity. I think we built a. Yes, okay, we built this architry here, which does give us 34.48% control, but we have no proximity. Our diplomat has improved relations with Pulaski as much as he can. I mean, we could build a scriptorium to try to get to books, which would need 0.1 dyes, 0.3 paper, 0.2 lumber, which would produce 0.3 books. Where are we? Goods. Which we really don't have many books. We do have a little bit of paper, and we have a tiny bit of dyes. Lumber, we should be good on. We are 22.17. See, building this 0.1715 tax, potentially 60% production efficiency, because we don't have enough dyes in the Vilnius market. Interesting. Land of commerce 2.5%, 0.25 for literacy of laborers, and 0 because the burghers are not happy. How much would this cost? 35. Not enough tin and marble in the market to build anything. And then here for the royal court, we just can't afford it. It's relatively straightforward on that part. So I do, again, kind of want to wait until our heir comes of age before we build a scriptorium, because we could say, look, this is part of the young man's vision. This is part of what he wants to do moving forward. This is how we're going to bring Lithuania into modernization. As we are now expanding the beeswax, which they have done several times. And you can see we have negative 1,685 laborers. So that's the one thing I do wish was a little bit different. And the only thing, the nobility building, I totally understand. Like that's valid, especially when we do have that discrepancy between our power, their power, etc., and just the control in general. Totally understand that. The only part I wish was a little bit different was to say, hey, instead of building 1,000 buildings in this one area, even it out a little bit, right? That is what I do wish was a little bit different. overall, the rest of the economy and how it works, I've knock on wood, right? I don't want to jinx myself, moving forward, but more or less feel like I understand and have a grasp on. Doesn't mean I'm a master. Doesn't mean I do everything right. That is definitely not what I'm saying. Just that I feel like I'm getting better and better at it. The more I play, which makes all the sense in the world, right? The more you play something, the better at it you're going to get. Your income will go down in the winter, right? You're not growing food, so whatever monies you get usually from selling food, right, it decreases, right? So in January it's at 0.63. Our trade income also went down to 0.5, so it makes sense that we lost money or we lost revenue, right? We're still doing good. Again, we need to pay for our forts. We need to buy food potentially for our people. But as we start heading into the spring, this number at least should get better. I don't know if it will in February. It might get worse. But as we head into the spring, it should start to get better. You can see, didn't get better by a lot, but it did get better. So we do have a little bit of trade. 0.22 trade available. Now, can we find sugar from anywhere? Doesn't look like it. Alright, so how much sugar do we actually need? 0.53, okay, so we can't do anything about that. Sulfur? Tin, sorry. Tin is something else they say we don't have enough of. So could we import tin anywhere? Oh, we only have 0.22. Yeah, well, I don't know that we really need that much tin. Sugar, can we import? Can't import sugar, okay. Pearls. I was going to try to import gemstones, because we don't have those. Prague and Budapest. But again, the problem is, okay, the end of the Black Death. It seems the last remnants of the plague have finally disappeared. All those of us that survived the curse are the blessed. I would say in general, probably blessed, right? Oh, we have 0.97 manual trade capacity. I was still thinking it was at 0.22. Sorry. So yeah, we could do. Oh, that's right. I don't think there was anything for sugar, was there? No, unfortunately not. 0.97. Okay, so we could get a little bit here, 0.77 ducats, 3.22. Import it from Pest. We'll still have some trade capacity left. We are up to 7 ducats now a month, which is not a lot, I'm aware. But for us, that is just massive. And then we have 0.85. What is this, copper? I mean, we do need copper. I'm aware of that. 0.37 dies. Liquor, we have 5.02. They actually have a slightly positive balance. We went to Lubick. Vilnius to Kiev. Wine. Okay. You know what? We'll do that. we'll export some of our wine to Kiev. Alright, so we've used up all of our trade capacity. We're now considered the 141st nation of the world. But the good news is our young son, here in just 3 days' time, is going to come of age. And the regency will be over. A new Grand Duke Jedebias II. Okay, so I didn't need to call him the second. I know in one of the earlier saves in Bulgaria, I didn't call him the second, he just had the same name. Will now rule our glorious country. His Grace's great cutting and silver tongue shall aid us in forming strong alliances with our friends. 36 admin, 55 diplo, 27 military. That's just not good. He is also the heir to Lithuania and Turov. So we no longer have a regency. Can we, if we join an order of chivalry, the bonuses gain depend deep on the order itself. Hungary will gain 30 pity to be, and we will join the order of St. George. Sure. He has joined the order of St. George of Hungary. The following effects now apply to him: monthly prestige plus 0.03, military ability plus 50, diplomatic reputation plus 1. It is a chivalric order. Zoja Litis, who is 18. She is Alsatian. She is Catholic. She's, of course, a local noble. Can we arrange a royal marriage with anybody? Moravia looks like. Gelders. Margetha, 40, 64, 44. Moravia is a 55, 50, 38. Marquita. Neither one of them are great. Ansbach. She's 19. This is Mecklenburg. All right, so we have Katharina von Hanover. Now she is 63, 51, and 78. Now they're one of the weaker powers. All of them are weak powers, so we don't have the ability to marry anybody who's very strong. But she's also the furthest away. Anna von Hohenzollern. Sorry, Hohenzollern. Where was she again? Schauenberg. She's also just 16, 63, 51, and 78. She is Catholic. We don't know anything about her, but she's Angrian. But she's got the best stats that I've seen. The most balanced stats and the best military stats. So Katharina, we will get 0.96 prestige. They will get 6.19. We have positive 14 releases. And we'll go for it. Grand Duke Jedebias II with consort Katharina von Hanover was accepted by Schauenberg. They are now legally married, and this will hopefully benefit both of our nations immensely. We gain 0.96 prestige. All right, so we are going to build this scriptorium. And we are going to, increase ties to the neighbors. We will go for that as well in the capital. Usually we lose gold, right? From this, people are like, hey, we're homesick, the weather is hot and cold and rainy. But I feel like having the parliament on side is going to be better than not having the parliament on side, right? We have another 0.57% that we can use for trade. We have no gold. So we'll try to make a little bit of gold for Prague to us. Excellent diplomacy, the skilled work of our diplomats, and the enviable situation of strength our great duchy finds itself in are proving beneficial to our standing among our peers. Our diplomats are capitalizing on these factors to achieve better results than usual in their negotiations. Can get appease estates or excellent diplomacy for 5 years. Well, appease the fickle estates. So they're all going to be positive. And see, we are up to 3,500 men now. And see, negative 0.26 on the removing zealots, negative 2.28 on the orthodox zealots. Again, almost 1 in 5 of our people are now Catholic. Negative 65 burgers in Kaunas, negative 113 there. Minsk, negative 194. Livestock, we have an insane amount of plus 23.92, so that's just really not ever going to be a thing. Now, we don't have any employment here in charcoal with a charcoal kiln, which I don't understand why. We now have 0.8 or 0.22 trade capacity remaining. Do we have any silver? We have a tiny bit of silver. Okay. Tar, we don't really have a lot of. Amber, we have a decent amount of. Liquor, we've got more of. We'll export some liquor to Stockholm. We're going to get all of our neighbors drunk. That's our plan. That is our evil plan for takeover. Get the neighbors drunk. And see, proximity is starting to improve, which is obviously going to help in terms of, you know, manpower, taxation, all of these things, right? And speaking of that, I do love how they reworked the rivers. I'm still not entirely sure how it works, but I do know rivers play a much bigger role. What do we have going on? Measles are affecting our country. Oh, that sucks. Charcoal kiln plus 0.34. Market village, which would give us food capacity plus 50, trade advantage plus 10, trade capacity plus 0.10, market access plus 0.5%. Well, what is the market access here? 90%? No, that's proximity. 41% prosperity. Development. Oh, there it is. 97%. So, yeah. I mean, theoretically, of course, increasing market access to 100% is not a bad thing, but overall there are bigger things to kind of be pushing for. So in theory, right, we have a royal marriage. Um, we have. We still don't have enough burgers here. Or here. Or here. All right. Now RGOs are still profitable. That like, don't get me wrong. And see, here we go. Life at Vilnius. We have advanced research. We'd have research scholarly treatises, which give us the following benefits: provoke privilege cost -5%, embrace institution cost -10%. This era of thoughts, art, and science will bring forth new ways of discoveries and inventions, allowing us to optimize our adoption of foreign institutions. Life at Vilnius, as representatives of areas that are sometimes quite distant from Vilnius, many CIVIS members often find that life at Vilnius during their visits is very different from what they are used to. Some find it both cramped and filthy, and many seem quite relieved when they get to return home. This year has proven even harder than usual for the delicate sensibilities of our CIVIS members to endure. Again, it's hot, it's cold. We'll lose 20 ducats. We do have 2.88 masonry, so we have the ability to do something. Wool plus 9.48. We don't really need more of that. Clay, yeah, we definitely don't need more clay. Fur? No more fur. So the charcoal kiln definitely could make us more money, but I don't know if that's something we really need to do. Although then again, it still tells me that we have none of it. $2.76 because we have all of the lumber being produced, right? But where are all of our burgers going? Like, I know they're not happy, right? Negative 0.01%, but I really don't know where they're all going to. It's not like we have a lot of cities that they can be like, hey, this city is gonna like be great to me. Now we have 40 people available to promote. So again, let's see what happens. I'm just out of curiosity. I want to see what happens here. Town demands seat in Samus. The town of Gardinas has grown rich and prosperous, and the people there are disappointed that they have not been chosen as the seat of the current Samus. The representatives of Gardinas demand compensation and guarantee from us securing their interests for the future. They are threatening to leave if their demands are not granted. Then they gain 10% satisfaction, 25% support, and they gain 1 urban parliament seat. That's fine. Did I go to negative 428? That is wild. Like, I am sorry, but that is wild. Negative 428. We're going to go here, and what we're going to try to do... There we go, provinces. Vilcamergia. The Samus agrees. We gain 5 diplomats. Livonia, Order, Principality, Basaval, and Cirque all gain 50 pity to be. The sword load will only carry us so far. It'll be far more beneficial for us to let the pen support the sword to achieve greater things. Our main concern should be the minor countries around ourselves. Alright, so we now have 8 diplomats. Alright, so over here, Kidani, which has 67% control, is Silao the provincial capital? Looks like it. Okay, so I'm wondering, right? What I'm wondering is if we build a bailiff here, which increases the control by a lot, does that then help with all the rest of the provinces because it's the provincial capital, right? But on that note, where are the roads? We build a road. 190 ducats. Can't build it. Okay. You can see we are up to 24% power now that we actually have a ruler who is not a minor. He does have a sister, Dana, who is 12. She kind of looks a little severe for a 12-year-old, but okay. I think it like alternates every other turn a little bit, or it pulls all the burgers out. I'm not really sure. But again, that's part of why I'm not really rushing to build too many, urban buildings right now. Sturdy grains, we have plenty of those. Beeswax, got plenty of that. Live, oh God, I know we have enough livestock. Lumber, medicaments. Okay, so not as much as I thought. Lumber, 0.53. Can we build a... So we can't build a dye workshop here in a rural area. That's unfortunate. I mean, I'm not surprised by that, but at the same time, it's a little bit unfortunate. So if we build a monastery, it would give max literacy for clergy plus 10%, pop conversion speed plus 10%. Glass and masonry, it would need 50 ducats, so it would take an entire year. For the Gweems, lumber, livestock, wild game, and wool. Being in December, we're now losing food. So let's see what happens to the number of burgers here in Vilnius. Because we're negative 157 here at the end of 1354. And pretty early on at 1355, we'll go ahead and, well, the episode, right, 3 years usually equals about a year of gameplay for me. So we lost 47, or we gained 47, right? Crava, lumber, 0.52, it's staying pretty steady. I mean, it does say does continue to say we, you know, charcoal. But 0.52 is still better than 0.35. What if we wait one more month, then we'd be able to stay at 100 ducats right after the building. .53, so we will build or expand our forestry there in Crava. We have a little bit more trade capacity, 0.25. Furniture? Yeah, no, I was gonna say we don't have enough furniture. Now we do have enough fur. Vilnius to Bruges, 14.65. You can get 0.44 ducats. We will do that. And we will send some fur to Bruges. So we have 6 current trades. We are exporting liquor to Stockholm for 0.37. We're exporting wine to Kiev for 0.26. We're exporting furs. We don't know how much yet. We are importing gold. We are exporting furs to London for 0.37. Gold we're importing for 1.1. And sugar, or is that salt? Salt, sorry. We are importing for 0.29. Our religious rebels have all left. Now that we're at 55% control on the husk, I think I will try to see if we can. See if we can actually convert people into our primary culture. They are building another toll castle. Actually, yep, down here. Toll castle, nobles plus dead, nobles food consumption plus 100%. Well, what I would like to do, I think we have already. Yes, we do have a die maker. We have no burgers employed there. We don't have enough burgers employed with our Jewelers Guild, and we don't have enough burgers in our die maker. Oh, I see what it's doing. I think. I see what it's doing. Is it's, going building by building. Caught red-hoofed. All living creatures that are great Duchy are subject to the laws of man, regardless of whether they can be comprehended or not. Recently, a sow has been caught murdering and consuming a child. Okay. And now sends trial for its grievous crime. It is imperative that the authorities uphold the depression of maintaining the laws and orders of the land in an assiduous manner. Even if the defendant may not be human, granting in a trial which observes legal customs to the fullest extent provides the people with greater trust in the system. Continue to be fair for all, even animals. Curtail expenditures on animal trials. We will lose 7 stability, gain 16 dead and a half nuggets. Or we can say the priests are responsible for animals too, and they will gain estate satisfaction. We will just continue towards traditionalist. Right? Don't need to be having trials for animals, but at the same time, okay, so we are producing finally a little bit of coal. Now we finally have some workers there. So, again, these are not going to be necessarily action-packed episodes, but I am having a lot of fun. If we wanted to import something dies, we have a little bit of dye, so I don't want to report that. Gold we have done. We will take gold from pest. And we'll go down here to Hungary and say, hey, let's try to improve our opinion. Because we're friends with Poland already. Can we get another great Catholic power outside? That'd be a good thing. So we've ruled for a little bit over a year. We are inching closer, right? To annexing Polotsk. We are getting close to 600,000 people. We are up over 10 decades a month. We still have measles in our country. It is May of 1355. That is where we're going to end today's episode. Thank you, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Take care. Stay safe. And I will try to talk to you all in the future.